Aid workers arriving in Vanuatu tell tales of utter destruction. 4 civilians in Thailand may be headed to military court. Plus, a militant leader in the Philippines is finally captured. These stories are coming up next on the Asia Brief. A very good Tuesday morning, March 17th to you. My name is Steve Miller, your host. Welcome to this episode of the Asia Brief. Unfortunately, things in Vanuatu just seem to be going from bad to worse. First up, Charlie Damon, Program Manager for CARE International in Vanuatu.
I cannot imagine how long it's going to take to work in Port Vila alone. So we're talking, months to maybe a year, maybe even longer, to be able to get this country, to help this country recover and to help the people of Vanuatu recover to this devastating event.
Vanuatu President Baldwin Lonsdale had this to say.
This is a very devastating cyclone that has caused Vanuatu. I term it is a monster. It's a monster that has hit the Republic of Vanuatu.
Unfortunately, Vanuatu is ranked as the country most vulnerable to natural disasters in the world. Aid workers arriving Monday said conditions in Vanuatu are among the worst they had ever seen, and the environment was rife for spreading disease. Those needing the most help are Vanuatu's children, which according to UNICEF numbers close to 60,000. Aurelia Balp, head of the Pacific Office of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Society, says, "I don't think there has ever been destruction on this scale in one place." We continue to see video, we continue to hear stories of those who have survived the storm in Vanuatu, and the tales are truly sobering. The devastation is massive. Even the president, as you heard, called it a monster storm. And the entire event is sobering. It really makes you think how fortunate individuals are who live in developed nations. Because even when they are hit by Category 5 storms, the damage is severe. We can look at recent events in Australia and even looking back further to last year in Japan. What the people in Vanuatu went through must have been hell on earth. Ever since General Prayut Chan-o-cha overthrew the civilian government last year and installed his own via a coup, one of the orders the junta issued was barring public gatherings. 4 men were released late on Monday who belonged to a group called Resistant Citizen. Their names are Arnan Numpa, a rights lawyer, Sirawith Seritiwat, a student, Punsak Shritep, an activist whose son was killed in a 2010 army crackdown on anti-government protesters, and Wanakit Jusuwan, a taxi driver. Following their police interrogation, they were released by a military court, but they are due to return on March 27th to see if charges will be pressed against them. It's events like these that truly make people wonder what is going on in Thailand. The fact that you can't peacefully assemble and voice your opinion about what the government is doing raises a lot of alarm bells and makes people wonder, is Thailand moving in a positive direction? Phil Robertson, Deputy Director of Human Rights Watch's Asia Division.
We're not, to be frank. The one thing that we hold out hope for is the pledges that Prime Minister Prayut made on a recent trip to Japan, that there would be a return to democracy by sometime early in 2016, or at even perhaps the last days of 2015. I think a restoration of democracy here in the end of martial law is really critical to turn the human rights situation around. But on a day-to-day basis, there's still censorship, going after individual dissidents, trying to control the media. All the things that really raise serious concerns about which way Thailand is heading on a human rights basis.
I've said this many times. There are a number of issues, a number of items Prayut needs to complete to prove to the world that he's actually working to restore democracy and civilian control in Thailand. What it appears he's doing is trying everything in his power to retain control. And if that's the case, he's truthfully not working to restore democracy in Thailand. What the end result may be is a nation about as democratic as North Korea. On Monday, the Philippine Army was able to cross one more militant off its list. Mohammad Ali Tambako, founder and leader of the Justice Islamic Movement, was arrested along with 5 others, according to Army officials on Monday. According to the reports, they were fleeing towards a seaport in General Santos. Tambako opposes the peace initiative brokered between the Philippine government and the MILF. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief Giorgio Katapang said the arrest was a big achievement in maintaining peace in the southern region of Mindanao. Quote, "This alleged new group, the breakaway from the BIFF or Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, as I've already stated, that all of the breakaway groups of the MILF, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, we will consider them, ask them to be declared as terrorist organization. So this is a big help, and this only shows that the government is firm in its determination to put a stop on terrorism, to bring development and peace to Mindanao." End quote. This truly is a great development. Unfortunately, in Mindanao, there has been decades of conflict. Some estimates put the death toll at 50,000 people. Some say that 80,000 have been displaced. The peace brokered between the MILF and the Philippine government is crucial to the development of the nation. And the fact that these radical groups, the terrorist groups, are now being brought in is a great sign. Well, my friends, those are all the stories for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them, so please leave a comment or connect with me on Facebook or Twitter. Be sure to keep up with more news from the region by following Asia News Weekly on Facebook or Twitter. You can even send an email to the show with your questions, your comments, or your feedback, or send an audio or video response as well. My email address, podcast@asiannewsweekly.net. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with your friends, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It's absolutely free to do, and when you do, that next episode is delivered automatically to you. You can do that on our website, asiannewsweekly.net, or in your favorite podcast application. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Steve Miller, reminding you to be true to yourself and to always be awesome.